Today was bad. Light work, people. Light work. It seems we're soft all over the pitch. Good evening. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Pre-Match Hype. And this time it's Liverpool West Ham. So, yeah, good to have a West Ham fan on. We've got good old Corey, who last time told us exactly how the game's going to pan out. And, well, he didn't exactly tell us how it's going to pan out. He was hoping that this is how the plan is going to go. And, yeah, lo and behold, they pulled it off. Good to have you on again, Corey.
Yeah, good to be back on, mate. It's been a bit of a... It's been a while. I mean, since that game, people pinpoint it as a time where West Ham have had their struggles. So that I have fond memories of that game in the ground. It was a great performance. It was very, very complete from my end. So, and you've obviously gone from strength to strength as well, and you've got the Carabao Cup under your wing. So that hopefully tomorrow, I know you won't be hoping, but we galvanise a little bit and we get up for it.
Yeah, look, people say, just like how Spurs, do you remember Conroy beat us a few years back? And then that was a turning point of our season where we just went mad for like the next 2 years, right?
Yeah, that was the 4-1, wasn't it? Lovren disaster class.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember
we've got a tendency to come back from defeats like that. And West Ham most certainly shocked us that day. But first and foremost, how are you, Conroy?
No, I'm good. I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been as I say, it's Friday. Thankfully, it's Friday. But it's been a good week. It really has. Liverpool winning the League Cup. What a day that was. My voice has recovered. And then obviously the Norwich game, which actually was quite a strange game as well. I know the guys done the post-match as well. It was a strange game. So, but getting through to the quarterfinals was great. And yeah, it's been good, mate. But I've got to say, like, out of all the kind of pre-matches we've done, Grizz, Corey kind of hit the nail on the head. If you talk about previews, the way it worked out, that West Ham 3-2 game, got to give you credit, mate. You called exactly how they would plan it, and you ended up being right, so fair play, mate.
Do you know thanks.
I
wasn't sure it was going to work out, though.
Do you know the funny thing is, in the intro where I'm saying we're soft all over the pitch, that was the West Ham game.
That was the one, yeah. That
was the West Ham game. We were proper soft all over the pitch, and I remember. But look, as you say, Conroy, it's been a fucking brilliant week so far. If you're a Liverpool fan, we win the League Cup against Chelsea on a penalty shootout that you couldn't make up, and then we progressed to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup during midweek where we beat Norwich. And now it's back to the one competition where we're probably the least favourites out of the three that we're left in. I'd say Champions League, we absolutely are one of the favourites. The FA Cup, we're most certainly one of the favourites. The league, if we win tomorrow, we go 3 points behind City with a lot of football to play. So look, at the end of the day, if we want to be anywhere and progress anywhere, we got to make sure we get 3 points against West Ham, and it's easier said than done, right, Corey? Because you guys, all right, you've had a bit of a sticky patch, but looking at it overall, I was just looking at your position before I came on, and you're still there or thereabouts. I mean, I know you're probably slightly disappointed with your with some of your games recently. But you're there or thereabouts, and it's a matter of just sticking in there for you guys, isn't it? Like, see how long you can keep this sort of race to be in the top four going.
Yeah, I think we're out of it. So my perspective on the top four is we're out of it, and we are competing for the Europa League. And I think that's why, for me, when we beat Wolves, that was such a big 3 points to have, because that's the team for me that you're looking at in terms of where West Ham's standards are now. I think we need to be getting or finishing at least seventh. We need to really be getting European football. So getting that result was more important than anything. It's just this team is tired. It's tired. It could have done with a little bit of tweaking in January, a little bit of an injection. I saw Moyes come out today. He was talking about how he's been trying to get players in. And for me, he was a bit frustrated in that interview because he knows, and the fans have said it and that they voice it. When you look at Southampton, they're the opportunity to rotate 9 players, and we have to play our strongest team week in, week out. So he won't take a back step. He just doesn't take a back step in the cup competitions, which is brilliant because as a West Ham fan, I want us to be going full guns blazing for as long as we possibly can. But I think now, given we're out of the FA Cup, we could be out. We could be out of the Europa League in 2 weeks' time. So we don't know, and then all of a sudden our focus is 1 week game, and maybe we can start to pick up more consistent performances. But yeah, you are right. We're hanging in there. It's actually not as bad as what I'm making it out to be, because Dijk come out the other day and said we've only lost 2 in 10 or some crazy thing like that, which doesn't feel like it to me because I've seen a lot of poor performances. But at the end of the day, you just got to keep in there, mate. And as long as we try and do that, then hopefully we'll have a good end to the season.
Yeah, look, I was just looking at your lineup for the cup game, and I think this is where the issue lies with a lot of West Ham fans, isn't it? That you seem to be playing, and I could probably, if ever I was to pick guess a West Ham lineup, I'm pretty certain to nail 8-9 of you guys at least. You know what I mean? That he's going to pick the same lineup. That's the one area that's kind of costing you, isn't it? You're playing the same midfield, like Rice and Sounchek are guaranteed to be your midfield. Otherwise, it's a Noble as your understudy, I think. Fucking hell, calling 50-year-old Mark Noble as an understudy. Can you imagine? But
yeah, mate.
Do you know
34 years young. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Look, Bowen, Antonio, right, Lanzini in and out, maybe with Benrahma, but it's so. Look, you tell us from your league team, because I've only got your FA Cup team up here, right?
Yep.
How many changes did you make, or did you make any? I think a couple maybe of you from the team that played in the league to the cup game in midweek.
Yeah. I don't think we made any. Changes. So it's exactly the same team.
Did Diop come in, Corey? Did Diop maybe?
No, you are right. Actually, you are. You've caught me there. Cresswell was injured apparently, so Diop come in, but the same formation, exactly the same way we played against Wolves. Went with a back 5, so no real change even in system. So
that's what I wanted to ask you, Corey, because that's the reason I only spotted that, mate, was because last time we spoke, and me and Grizz were always like West Ham 4-2-3-1. That's how you're going to play, being so successful. Just not to go too far off topic, mate, but see the 3-4-3 or 3-4, like 2-1, whatever you want to say. Was there a reason that came about, or do you think he just kind of changes it from the opposition you're playing?
Do you know what? I think for me as a fan, I think we had to change something, because I just feel it became a little bit stale. When you're not interchanging players, they're the same players. You do need to change the formation. And I think when we played against Wolves, we looked better playing out of a press, which was important. We looked better in pressing Wolves and going man for man on their back 3. So it could have been a case of let's just keep the same game plan for Wolves and then Southampton thereafter. And there are minor tweaks in terms of how we played that. We tried to be a bit narrow against Southampton, playing exactly the same way. But I think he's done it because when you look at some of the players in our team, Antonio, for example, he's so isolated in a 4-2-3-1 when he's not winning his duels. And when we play, for me, it's more of a 3-5-2. He gets Jared very close to him, so he's got a player to work off in terms of hold-up play, and it gives him a bit of support. The other one's Sounchek. Now, Sounchek, for me, is a man that's absolutely shattered. He needs about 3-4 months off to get him back to where he's at. And when you've got that 3-man midfield, and you've got Lanzini and Rice next to him, he's not much ground to cover. And there are players in there that are very good in possession. So I think it was a bit of, it will work against these teams and freshen it up. But it was also to help out players like Sounchek and Antonio, because they're so far out of form. He had to do something. If he's not going to rotate them, then he's got to get the system working for him.
Because I'm just looking at your lineup from the Southampton game, and it suggests here, but obviously you'll tell us if it's wrong. It suggests here you played a back 3. Well, Areola's not going to be your keeper, right? So that's another change.
No.
So Areola's
so Fabianski will come in, yeah.
And then you played a Diop, Zuma, and Dawson as your 3 centre backs. And then you played Fornals, it says, as a left wing back, and Johnson as a right wing back. Was that the case?
Yeah.
And then Lanzini behind Antonio and Bowen. So the only one that...
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, was that about it? So, yeah, look, I agree. I was going to ask the same question, but Conroy's sharp as a razor blade.
No, it was just because the 4-2-3-1, we kept going on about how impressive Sounchek and Rice have been all season.
Yeah.
And I was just wondered, but I think the isolation point, that makes a lot of sense, because Antonio does miracles sometimes up there to hold the ball up and wait for the midfield to join. So apologies, Chris, jumped the gun there.
No, it's good. But it's one of those ones, isn't it, where where I think your manager came out afterwards and talked about sort of the impotency in front of goal, the lack of chances created. Is that one of your main gripes, or what do you think? Where are you frustrated with in recent times, recent games?
It's a tough one. I think it's just consistency. I think West Ham can. The chance creation point's a great point, and I think the way I described it probably last time on a preview was we work off Antonio and the attacking midfield three work off him, and we build like that. And really, since Antonio's form's dipped, it's just the movement of the other players. They aren't sure whether to get close to him. Again, there aren't enough options. There's a breakdown in play. West Ham become quite vulnerable in transition, which is a big problem. And we look weaker. And West Ham, I've said this before, that midfield won't press. They won't engage. They will just keep going back to the edge of the box, keep the shape nice, and hopefully there's some kind of resolution. So the chance creation has definitely broken down. For a period of time, we were so reliant on Jarrod Bowen and just a moment of brilliance from him. And granted, he has shown that. Set pieces as well. I look at Leicester. Craig Dawson is a perfect example of that. Zuma as well. It's just, it's frustrating from that point of view. I think defensively, there was a point where West Ham were very vulnerable, including the fullbacks. Now we've seen that Soufal's gone out with an injury. Fredericks has gone out with an injury. Johnson's probably the more preferable on the right-hand side. But that seems to have solidified a little bit since Zuma's come along with Dawson. So less so the worries there. But you know what? The big thing about Southampton that was on the show for me was first 20 minutes, fantastic in transition, fantastic in possession, spot on game plan. And then when Hasenhüttl changed it, the players looked panicked and rushed. And this season has been a bit of a profile for if you press West Ham high enough and we're trying to engage and play through your midfield and we can't, we get frustrated. And I think there are individual performers in there. Ben Rama, when he came on, it's not good enough. We're talking basics here. Antonio, Ben Rama, retaining the ball, playing the simple pass. So I think it's confidence as well. I do think confidence. We started the season. We had the momentum from last season. We had the energy and it has dipped. And I think these players are either physically fatigued or they're mentally fatigued. Probably a bit of both in fairness. But there's still, don't get me wrong, there's no lack of effort there. It's just we don't have the energy. And I think when they don't have the energy and their confidence is a little bit knocked, the quality can sometimes be lacking.
Yeah, look, we're going to get back to you on the predicted lineups and how you think they're going to set up against us. But I guess, Conrad, for us, totally the other end of the scale in terms of we play. Who did we play before the cup final? We played a league game against Norwich, wasn't it?
Leeds 6-0.
Leeds, I beg your pardon.
Is it?
Yeah, it was Leeds. Yeah. So we play an 11 against Leeds, and then 6-0, and then we managed to rest all our players for the League Cup final.
Still get injury though, 2 minutes before it starts.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that's part and parcel of it. Thiago pulls out just before the cup final. We managed to get the cup final out of the way again against a superb Chelsea team, and a win against Chelsea in any competition is spot on. You have to celebrate, regardless of what competition it is. Then we progressed to the quarterfinals. Fucking hell, dizzy. We're getting dizzy now. Dizzy heights in the FA Cup for us. We don't really normally bother with that too much. But like Corey says, the opposite of West Ham, we managed to make 10 changes. I think Henderson is the only one that sort of plays on Sunday and plays against Norwich in the FA Cup. We're back to Saturday, 5:30 p.m. kickoff. Raucous Anfield. It reminds me of who did we play? And we said they're not going to be able to handle it. We're really up for it. It was Leeds, wasn't it? Sorry, was it? No. Who was it we played last Saturday afternoon? And we said, I can't even remember. People in the chat.
Oh, it was a 3 o'clock kickoff. Come on, was that? No, it's not Leicester.
No, I'm talking about the evening kickoff. We said, I think it was Leicester.
Right.
That we said we're going to come out all guns blazing. The crowd's going to know we're in a league title fight again. We're back in it. We've been given a chink of daylight.
Yeah, it was, because Jota scores twice, and Diaz, plays,
Managers and coaches and players, right? Because they're professional, you like using the word revenge. But us fans, we fucking want some revenge from that West Ham result. Because I was there and I was sitting. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a ticket in the Liverpool end, right? I was willing to pay a lot of money for it. I still couldn't get it. So I braved it and sat in the Hammers end, right?
It's still not as bad as your Chelsea story, though, Chris.
No,
it's still not as bad as
it'll
that.
never be
I'd rather be in West Ham end any day of the week than Chelsea end.
Yeah. No, spot on. I was just waiting. I was like padded up, covered up. I just thought anyone fucking recognizes me, I'm getting it. Do you know what I mean? So I disguised myself as much as I possibly could and everything. But that was a horrible, horrible day at West Ham. I thought they bullied us. There was a comment, I can't remember now, from a good friend Fahim in the chat. He said they bullied Alisson, which was key to winning that game. What are you expecting? Because I like your perspective from the opposition. You always try to not overpraise the opposition, but you like to see it from their point of view. How are you thinking this game's going to go for us and them?
Do you know the thing is, right? In our preview with Corey, which was really good, I actually thought it was a brilliant preview. But we both agreed as well, Grizz. We thought these type of games. Now I know West Ham are a bit tired, but even back then, I think this suits you, especially with the 4-2-3-1. That might be different because of the recent formation changes, but I feel like in that game, not to go too tactical on it, but they played the low block very well. But it wasn't just the low block; it was their kind of the transitions, their counter attack. And as you said, with the kind of free behind Antonio in that game, I thought their transitions, as you said, Corey, ironically, you were worried about your transitions, but I actually thought the way that front three transitioned on our midfield when we gave the ball away, now, albeit we were sloppy, but I thought they were really good at identifying areas of weakness in that game and really going for it. So I feel like that will be a similar game plan, and I do expect that. Now, every time I say it's going to be a cage game, we end up winning like 4-0. So I hope that's the case. But I do feel that West Ham can really make it. It's not just a case of putting every man behind the ball. Like, they do tactically play it quite well. And I feel like that front three, the four, if you include Antonio and the three behind him, can cause us problems. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. I feel like it'd be interesting to get your opinion, Corey. Do you feel like this is maybe not a bad time in the sense of the way you set up these games can kind of work out for you? Because on the break, you've got quite a good threat now. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
It's tough, mate. It's tough. I think the thing is with that and why it was such a good performance was we were so aggressive in transitions. We committed 3 players and there was genuine quality. Antonio, Bowen and Fornals. And Fornals was probably the best game I've seen him have at West Ham, to be honest, in terms of his role. You are right.
He's turned to shit after that. Near enough. Everyone has their best fucking game against Liverpool. He's your star man, and I bet he's been poor since
He's been, mate. He's mustard. He's so underrated. Like, yeah. I mean, if you break it down into goals and assists, clearly there are players like Bowen that stand out. But I rate him technically and what he does off the ball. I just think maybe you are right in some sense that it gives West Ham an opportunity to keep the shape. And I think if there is less pressing in there and there is less energy and requirement for turnovers and it's just about breaking down Liverpool's play, then yeah, there could be opportunities. It simplifies our game. I think we're better as a counter-attacking side. Of course we are. But having said that, I worry about the energy. And Antonio is a big part of that. He's a huge part of that. You see for the third goal, his movement against Van Dijk, just giving him something to occupy him. And that commitment of bodies forward, there has to be there. In terms of a game plan, it's spot on. Like you really wouldn't change it against Liverpool. The problem with that is, Klopp, he tweaks things. He'll tweak things in game. He would have seen what happened last time and he'll try and do something else. But I think it will suit West Ham. I think 4-5-1 out of possession suits West Ham. But you've got to work hard. You really, really do. The only problem I've got, and we'll get on to predicted 11s, is the fact that Sounchek may be out and Lanzini may be playing in centre midfield. And that changes a lot in terms of discipline, in terms of shape, in terms of even physicality. So there are little things that might not be there. But yeah, I think they'll probably be more comfortable knowing it's an away game. This is the game plan. We can stick to it and hopefully we can nick something.
Before we continue with the preview, of course, massive, tragic and sad news about the passing of Shane Warne. So many messages in the chat and as well, and I've just brought this one up, but respect to all of you that have said RIP to Warne, the Maradona of cricket, and that's such a brilliant message. I grew up watching this fella. Absolute magical bowler, an amazing personality, character, so bubbly, so always had great. I used to just so enjoy his commentary and punditry. You get pundits and commentators or ex-players that say things that are bland, that are just, me and you can talk about those kind of things. Do you know what I mean? If us three were talking about a game of football, we could mention some of the things some of the pundits say, but this guy used to always give you an insight that you never thought of. You think, oh shit, yeah. And he'd give you experiences of how players think and how and the banter and the seriousness and some of his stories, and what a amazing man he was. Absolute shocking to hear the death. 52 years old. I mean,
So young.
that's so sad, man. So condolences and best wishes to his family, and yeah, everyone in the chat. I should have mentioned it at the start, but yeah, what a sad loss to sport, man. Not just cricket, just the world of sport. Don't know if you guys are any fans of cricket or Warne or.
Well, good. Just for me, I'm not the biggest cricket fan, as people know, but I know who Shane Warne is, and I think maybe that's the biggest compliment I can give. Like I know, not just like I knew throughout my life who he is. Like he's an icon, and I think someone summed up. He's not just an icon in cricket; he's an icon in sport.
Spot on.
And 100% is. And I feel like there's a good clip, and it was I think it's when he gets the 700 wicket, and it's just like that comment in the Maradona of cricket. I think that's a great comparison. Just the charisma. Yeah, absolutely, Grizz. As I say, I'm not a cricket fanatic by any means, but I know who Shane Warne is for most of my life, so that's the biggest compliment I can give him.
Yeah, look, everyone on this channel associated with this channel, like, best wishes to him and his family, and it's a proper sad day for cricket. He was an absolute icon, a legend. All of those things are sometimes overstated, but for him it wasn't. And I genuinely think he was one of the most, on top of all the personality and the great vibes and the positive vibes, always positive energy about him, he was actually probably one of the most skilled bowlers of all time. And combine the two and it's a huge loss. But yeah, look, speaking about the lineups that day, and shame on me and Conroy, we should have got the lineups from the last game, but I've got it here. And Alisson we had obviously in goal. We had Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson. We had Fabinho, Jordan Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then Salah, Jota, and Mane up front. What stands out for me is two things. Pretty much the lineup's going to be, the rest of it's going to be the same, but we'll go on to that, what we think may happen, may not happen. But a couple of things stand out from our lineup, and then we'll go to the West Ham lineup. And that was still very early doors for Virgil van Dijk in his recovery comeback. And we did mention it at the time that he's still not up to speed. And so it showed. It was very apparent in that game. And Oxlade-Chamberlain started. I can't remember, Conroy, if we were shocked or were we okay with it at the time. As the situation is with their injuries, he may start again tomorrow.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not in form, and there will be a lot of murmurings of discontent if he starts tomorrow. But that may be the case looking at the injuries. But do you recall that those two sort of things that we looked at in terms of selection and form the first time round?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the comment, the Van Dijk thing is apparent. I think that's really a good point, Grizz. But I'd also say that we played into West Ham's hands in the first 2 minutes. I always talk about, the whole channel talks about momentum. Momentum's huge in football, and we gave them a needless corner, or maybe the build-up play that got there was needless. And then Alisson, we've argued about this, we've had debates. It's a clear goal. Keeper's got to be stronger than that. I'm not having it. It's a contact sport. You need to do better than that there. And I feel like that they got on top of him early, and I feel like with that, we're fighting an uphill battle. And then, as you say, Big Virgil wasn't at 100%. And Corey, I don't know if you've watched Van Dijk recently, but he was good then, but like there's a drastic difference. You can just see that he's close to 100% now, just with the confidence, and I'd probably say the swagger, without being arrogant, Grizz, but just the way he's going about the way he's decision making, he's defending right now. It's just, for me, it's back to the top. And I feel like you could tell that it wasn't there that game. There was a few performances next to the West Ham game that were kind of like that as well, Grizz. So I think that makes you feel confident in the team anyway when Virgil's back. But there's a few things. Ox, to be honest, for me, Ox is actually, I'm not shocked when he starts now. He's had good games this season, he's had bad games, but he's definitely done better this season. He's definitely had more good games under his belt this season. So if that happens, it happens. I think the other point just on the last game to point out, and you shock horror, I'm going to talk about Andy Robertson, But Andy Robertson he had quite a poor game. He was galloping down the left side a lot. Nothing wrong with his engine, but his delivery and his link up was not good in that game. And I feel like, touch wood, but he's in much better form than now, and I think you'll see that tomorrow.
Yeah, look, generally overall, we're absolutely in a different place, in a different level than we were then. So look, the Alisson stuff, he's had 2 or 3 games where he's made fatal errors that have resulted in losses. West Ham was the first one, and then Spurs obviously was the second one, and they resulted in 2 losses, not even draws, dropped all 3 points.
Spurs was a hard one, wasn't it, Grizz? Because he pulled off like 4 unbelievable saves, and that was the hard one.
I was going to say exactly, but against West Ham, see, I'm still disagreeing with you about the foul. I thought many a referee would give that as a foul, but we didn't get it. It's 50-50. It's not a moan. It's just how I felt at the time, and I still think keepers usually get that. But that was at that stage. I don't know if you remember, Corey, at the start, where a lot of the pundits, a lot of the commentators were telling us that the referees have been told to let it go a lot this season. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you remember we were hearing it like more challenges, more things are going to be let go. They haven't though. They've done it for up to about Christmas, and then now they've started stopping everything. Virgil van Dijk being the latest example in the League Cup final, where he's told that's a foul what he's done on who the player was he meant to have blocked off. But
Reece James.
Yeah. So the inconsistency was still there. But look, going back to that first game, you guys had an absolute plan, and your team, reading out to you, obviously Fabianski, you had Ben Johnson at right back, so he must have been out still. Kufal must have been out still.
Yeah, he was.
So you had Ben Johnson, Kurt Zouma, Agbona, Cresswell. And so that was your back 4. So you did play a back 4, and then you played Rice, Sounchek, and then Fornals or Benrahma, however way you look at it, Bowen, Antonio. So yeah, you're right. You set up it as a 4-2-1-3 or whatever. That's one way of looking at it, or something like that, or 4-5-1 out of position. What do you think? What do you think tomorrow? Then, how does that change, personnel-wise and formation-wise?
Well, I think personnel-wise, I can't see Benrahma starting. I think Benrahma goes out and Lanzini comes in. And I think if you're going to play in the 10, Lanzini's perfect for that. I think Lanzini has really struggled with injuries. And at that time, he really wasn't in and around the first team. But how important he is, how well he keeps the ball, he's very press-proof. I think that's going to be crucial in this game, and the quality of the passing. And Benrahma has been wasteful. So I think he goes out. It's interesting, Ogbonna not being there. We miss Ogbonna massively. Ogbonna and Zouma were absolutely fantastic together. Genuinely, that back 4 for a long time was very, very solid, and we do miss it. Credit to Craig Dawson.
Corey, do you think you've reverted to a back 5 because of Ogbonna's injury, and then Dawson not being as quick as he was, obviously?
No.
Do you think there's a different reason for that, or no?
No, because it's only recent. If this was from, let's just say, December, early January, then I completely agree with you. You got to remember, he persisted with that 4-2-3-1 with Diop and Dawson, probably when we were playing Palace and we were getting pressed all over the place, and Southampton beat us at home. So he's got a preference for that. I think it's just, like I say, it's freshness. It's helping out players that are struggling a little bit. Yeah, and look, there are advantages to it, but you have to be aggressive in wide areas, which suits Fornals. It gets him further forward. It gets Bowen to Antonio. So there are little things in there, but he will prefer playing 4-2-3-1. And I say this, and I'll say it now. West Ham fans come into these type of games, and I look at Liverpool, and they always say, play 5 at the back, play 5 at the back. But you've got to try and resist that urge a little bit to get 5 in the middle. You've got to have 3 centre midfielders that can keep their shape, that can press, that are good in transition like Fornals, and you have to be brave enough to do that and back the team to keep the shape, because the deeper you drop against Liverpool, the more likely you're going to give the likes of Trent to get deliveries into the box, Robertson as well. We'll probably see Diaz tomorrow. We can't afford that to happen. We've really got to be aggressive when we've got our moments to go. So I'm really hoping we don't go to a back 5. I think it's a little bit too naive, but who am I to say? If Moyes picks
but that's a fair point though, because Brighton done a 4 and they overloaded the midfield, and Trossard dropped in as a false 9. And me and Grizz said that was a very smart plan, because we weren't at it that day, but it allowed them. It's a very good point though, because everyone just thinks about the 5 at the back, but it allowed Brighton to have more control, and they kept the ball when they had it instead of just clearing it and you're getting penned in.
No.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, and the thing is with Liverpool will pin us back. There will be points when they pin us back. If you go with a back 5 and you can't get your wing backs out to either carry the ball or be aggressive and get in behind the Trent, then there's no point. And I think Southampton, to a degree, did that against us. The minute they pinned us back, our wing backs couldn't get out, and we were stuck. So we want to hopefully avoid that.
Do you think it possibly depends on sort of the likes of the fitness of Cresswell? Is there any chance of him coming back? Because that gives you a natural left-footed player on that side, doesn't it? That helps. Kufau, we know, was an aggressive fullback that loved attacking, and he had the engine to go up and down. I don't know too much about Ben Johnson. Tell us about him. I know he's young. I know he's highly thought of. I know he signed that new contract. That there's a bit of rumors about he's not signing a new contract. So we obviously know about we obviously know about the Zumas. We obviously know about the Dawsons and everyone else, and the Declan Rices. We'll come to that. But tell us about sort of the Ben Johnson, because he's quite highly thought of, isn't he?
Yeah, look, I think defensively, it's hard because we lose track of things. And when Ben Johnson come in for 8 games, I don't think he got beat once. I don't think there was a player that got past him, which is an unbelievable stat just to come in and plot him in. I think where he's limited and where I think he does need to develop is the quality of delivery in the final third and carrying the ball and being aggressive. And that's where Soufal, before his injury, because I mean, he's just had a recent surgery and he was so off form. I'm sure that was something to do with it. He looks scared to engage at all. So I think that's where Soufal has the balance. He's got the ability 1v1 defensively, but going forward, he's got that aggressiveness. And Ben is still young. He's still young, so I'm not too concerned. But I think defensively, when he's at his peak, I really think he's probably one of the best fullbacks defensively at the club. I think he's absolutely superb. But it's just going forward, and particularly against Southampton, there was an emphasis on him getting further forward, bombing on, getting good deliveries into the box. And when he looks a bit tentative, then it slows the play down. So that is a bit of a concern. But you're right about Cress, Grizz. You are right. I think Cress is, even at a left-sided centre-back, you wouldn't naturally put him there. But the distribution, the build-up play, I think if Fornals goes to that left-hand side, we've got quite a strong left-hand side. And against Wolves, we built through the thirds through that. And he was a massive part of it. You just got him into midfield. Won't be that adventurous in this game, but I think we do need that. And we need quality in terms of those long balls into the channels in behind. Because if you lack that, you just continually give Liverpool the ball back, you will score. So you've really got to be conservative and you've got to be efficient in those moments. We've
got Red Steve reminding everyone, give the like a tickle, people. He's absolutely spot on. There's over 150 reviews in there on a Friday night, which is mad.
Yeah, like smashed. Yeah,
exactly. So just smash those likes in it. Do you know what I mean? Keeps us going, keeps us motivated as well, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So chop. Corey's right. You know what? While he was describing Ben Johnson, you know what it was reminding me of? It was giving me.
I know you're going to say. No. You're
not. You might not. It was giving me Aaron Van Bissaka vibes.
I was going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew. That's unfair to Ben Johnson.
No, it is unfair. Look,
come on. There's no funny little chops in there. He won't be doing anything silly like that.
Look, I'm not taking a piss. Like, we love taking a piss out of United on this channel, as we know, right? In the mud as they are. But I know where he's coming from in terms of, because we've had fullbacks like that in the past as well, where very solid, defensively, but since Jurgen Klopp's been in charge, it's the opposite, isn't it? He's asking his fullbacks
Nathaniel Klein, I thought, was brilliant defensively.
Probably the best example. Probably the best example in recent times. Even when we play Gomez right back or a Milner right back, even though Milner's obviously far better on the ball than the others, but our fullbacks on the other side are absolute, literally geniuses. Not only have we got the top 3 goal scorers in the Premier League, we've got the top 3 assisters, and 2 of them are fucking defenders. How insane is that? I know we've spoke about it, but it's such a weapons in our armory, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, but it's also changing the game. I'm not going to say that, but what I would say is it's so funny when we're talking about Ben Johnson, and maybe 10 years ago, you wouldn't even mention the attack and just say this guy's he's a defender. It's a right defender. It's a right fullback. Oh, his main job is to defend. Well, that's not true about fullbacks anymore. And don't get me wrong, there's certain systems, but 9 times out of 10, a fullback has to be able to attack and defend equally, or at least be decent at both, and maybe have an advantage with one, because your fullback is getting the ball. In most systems now, your fullback is getting the ball most of the time, maybe the most touches in a game. So I think it's not just from Liverpool, but there's definitely been a change in the fullback role, I would say, in the last maybe 5 years anyway, or maybe the expectancy of it. And I feel like our two fullbacks are the prime example of that. You've got someone who's a bit of a story as well, from Scotland, Queen's Park, and then kind of building up from improving, and then you've got someone who's Liverpool's academy, who's probably like, they're different, because Robbo's like a fullback, and then Trent's like a playmaker from right back, and he is one of the best in the world, and it's just very interesting when you see us play. But it'll also be interesting in maybe 5 years' time if you see how many fullbacks come off from that Grizz. Like, it'll be, well, I think it will be interesting to see if maybe the numbers that Robbo and Trent hit, it becomes the norm, which I know sounds a bit mad, but if you know what I mean, if you're expecting every fullback for a good season for a fullback is what, 8 assists, if that's the norm, I don't know if that's always possible. We've got a great team, so maybe I'm being a bit blindsided here, but I feel like the expectancy might change. I don't think you get away with what, say, like a Gary Neville winning all those titles, but I don't think Gary Neville, his assists, I think like 41 assists or something like that in the Premier League. I don't know if you get away with that in the future for the top 6 teams.
I think, Ben, you missed the start where Corey was waxing lyrical about Pablo Fornals. He says, lovely stream, guys. Can we talk about Pablo Fornals? Is he the most underrated player in the league? Go on, Corey.
Look, obviously I can't speak for every single player out there, but definitely at West Ham. Definitely. He's so, what he does off the ball, how intelligent he is. I think his versatility of positions. The problem is,
compare him to one of our boys.
Go ahead.
Stylistically, compare him to one of our boys stylistically. Who would you compare him to?
I can't, Grizz. There isn't really a player lot. There isn't. Pablo's so hard to pigeonhole. He should be a number 10. He can play wide. He can come in. I think the thing with Pablo for me is I think he's better centrally. The only thing that he lacks is being dynamic enough to beat a player. But if you're talking about passing ability, playing through the lines, again, I see it regularly, retaining the ball, and even his pressing off the ball, he's spot on. He's spot on. And people dig him out, and I think this is just his generation, isn't it? He's not quick. He can't beat a player. He can't do this. But he's absolutely, he's mustard. He is, genuinely. And there are games like the Liverpool game where you just plonk him into that midfield 3 and he just adapts like that. And the quality of pass, he's probably best passer at the club. It just goes under the radar because West Ham are a counter-attacking team. You don't associate with it. But the amount of times he put it on a plate for players is just unreal, and the weight of pass that he has. So yeah, that's enough Pablo Fornals loving. It might not make sense to everyone else outside of West Ham, but yeah, I love watching him play. He's a great player.
See, I feel that way about Cresswell. I think Cresswell is quite underrated, but I don't know if you feel that way. I feel like he got 8 assists last season, and everyone was talking about Luke Shaw, and I know it's not all about assists, but 8 assists in the Premier League is pretty impressive for the West Ham. And I feel, for me, just over the years, I've always found him underrated, because I know actually Liverpool were linked with Cresswell just before we signed Robertson. So I've always, you watch him more than me, Corey. I always feel like his numbers are quite good, but you watch him every week.
Yeah, Cress is a weird one because he was struggling before Moyes come in, really. And I'm talking defensively. When he first comes to the club, I don't know, I literally from memory, I can't remember whether he's had an injury or not. He would bomb on down that left-hand side. He was dynamic. He'd beat players. And of course, we know the quality he's got on his left foot. So he kind of adapted and changed as a player. And 1v1 at times, I thought he struggled a little bit. But under David Moyes, not only has he managed to facilitate him, and he's got a system where at times he can press up a little bit, he uses his left foot really, really well. I think defensively, 1v1, he's improved this season. So not only that, as a player, in terms of coaching, I don't see him getting skinned nearly as much. And I think even, you got to appreciate the versatility of him, even when he plays that left-sided centre-back, just stepping out into midfield and picking the right pass.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the set pieces. Obviously. I think For set pieces, it's him and it's also Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen's set pieces go massively under the radar. The amount of times I see him swinging one in with pace and right on the money. Yeah, they're up there. But Bowen's not underrated. Surely not anymore.
We're gonna get to the Bowen chat because so many people are asking about Bowen. We're gonna get to the Bowen chat. Adams, our resident United fan who loves the show, still, even though he's a United fan, absolutely big up Adams. Says Grizz, leave us and our Brockfoot AWB alone. Yeah, that's the last. Look, I'm not going to mention Wan-Bissaka again. You know, it was just topical. Sorry. You know, why am I mentioning Aaron Wan-Bissaka when we're talking about such quality with Fornals and all these other players, you know? But Conrad, all these fullbacks going to have their hands full tomorrow because not only they're going to have Salah on one wing, possibly Cresswell up against him, or who did we say might play there?
Like Fornals and
Fornals might play there if it's a 5 year, or who's the left-sided centre back then? Well, we don't know. We don't know if it's going to be 4 or 5. Yeah. But assuming it's going to be 4, Corey, you think?
I think 4. I want 4, but he may go 5.
What was your last league game? What was your last 2 league games?
So
and don't tell me one each.
So Wolves was a back 5. And then we drew to Newcastle, so it would have been 4-2. So we played back 4 in that game.
So we fucking don't know.
So we don't know. So we don't know. We don't know. But I think you in terms of personnel, if it's a back 5, Fornals is the wing back. There are no other options there. I think if Cress is fit, he plays left-sided centre back. I think I think Dawson plays in the middle and Zuma plays on the right hand side. That's what I know. But it should be easier, Grizz, really, given we've only got about 14 players. But it never is West Ham. We've got to change it up, so I don't know.
Whoever they put up in those wing-back, full-back positions, Conroy will absolutely have their hands full tomorrow because we have probably got some of the most informed attackers around Europe. And I'm going to go down this route where I'm going to big them up and tomorrow West Ham keep a clean sheet. But fuck it, I'm going to keep going for it. I'm going to keep going. We know about the genius, the footballing, absolutely goal-scoring genius that defies every critic of his in Mohamed Salah. But we now have a player that's been with us, a month or so? January?
Yeah, just over a month. Yeah.
Just over a month. And you've got him coming on and you can see the excitement when he comes on, or you can see the vibes when he's starting. Luis Diaz probably will start tomorrow.
Probably should, Chris, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you start him? Because we've got Jota, who's fully full back to fitness now because he played most of the game against Norwich, which I found surprising. I thought he might be given 60, 70 minutes. We've got Sadio Mane and we've got Mohamed Salah as well. So I tweeted something today and I said, if the injury situation doesn't clear up in midfield, right? Which, for us, it doesn't clear up overnight. If Klopp was saying, they're doubtful, that means they're out kind of thing. He's not Alex Ferguson or Pep Guardiola where he lies in press conferences, and they're all playing the following morning. But if that's the case and Fabinho and Henderson are the only 2 fit and hungry midfielders, I suggested, the tactical genius that I am, sat in my living room, right, without no FIFA badges and whatnot, I suggested let's unleash something that West Ham and David Moyes won't have trained and coached for, and that is play a 4-4-2 with Salah and Mane as we do sometimes, right, when we go for things. Fabinho, Henderson, and then unleash Diaz behind Jota.
Yeah.
Is that FIFA? Is that too much FIFA there?
Well, the thing is, right, we done that against Norwich. Now, you can do that against Norwich when you're chasing a game, and you can the risk rewards probably more in your favour, however, I get what you're saying, Grizz, I really do, but I feel like it's maybe a bit too, not naive is the wrong word, but I still feel like West Ham are a good enough team to work that out in their midfield to get the spaces. I think David Moyes is probably still tactically switched on to try and hurt us that way. However, you might say that, as Corey said at the start of the show, West Ham have looked a bit tired in some games. So maybe you could go at them early. Probably you could say similar to a Brendan Rodgers-esque Liverpool when they try to win games in 20 minutes and be done. You know, that old way. You can maybe try that against West Ham. However, for me personally, I think he probably just sticks to what's worked quite well for most of the season and puts someone like I know we're going to do the lineups, but probably put Elliott in with the other two, with Fab and Hendo. But I don't think it's the craziest shout, Grizz. Like, I could see it's not out of this world that could happen.
The reason why I suggest that, and we're going to come on to Corey's like thinking how it's going to go tactically, how it could go, because West Ham and David Moyes and most fucking coaches in the Premier League know how we're going to set up. So it doesn't matter how we set up, you're still going to have a terrible time stopping us. I think there's only one team that stopped us scoring. I think it was Leicester, wasn't it? Only Leicester have stopped us from scoring, right? So
it doesn't matter. In that game as well.
And we missed a penalty in that game as well, and fucking about 4-1-1s. But my point is, David Moyes won't be ready for that. And Corey, on the back of your tiredness, fatigue, slightly low on confidence, imagine we set that up against like you lot, right? So we went man for man because we know your pivot is going to be Sounchek and Rice as your two, right? And that's what my thinking was. Fabinho and Henderson will match up with your two. And then it's just a matter of R4. And you got to remember R4, and guys, please tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a harder working for in world football as well. So they're not just forwards that are just going to loiter around like Cristiano Ronaldo up there and stand around like Lukaku, whatever. These guys press the shit out of you. Does that make you have sleepless night, Corey? If that was the case?
Yeah, hypothetically, yeah, it would. Yeah, you're right. It'd probably be more of a 4-2-4, and it'd basically be going man for man on our players if we were going to play a back four. So it would, and I think we could be got at. I think the biggest part of that, in terms of your attackers, Luis Diaz, and the difference that he is as a player, because I look at him and I think the way he just progresses the ball and the way positionally he's not really caught in a position. I know he's learning the system, but it just feels to me like you see him drifting all over the place and looking so comfortable on the ball. That frightens the life out of me, because I think if you're Dawson, for example, you're not sure whether to go for him or not. If you're Declan Rice, do you sit or do you press and try and win the ball off him? It's the risk, and then you can create space for others. Whereas I felt last time, because of the way that you play and because we're the inside forwards, we could deal with that. So if you're saying to me 4-2-4, then yeah, hypothetically it would be a problem. And in that case, I'd go with a back five and to deal with it and stop that situation. But you talk about the midfield in that situation as well. I think if it was 2v2, it would possibly free up someone like Pablo Fornals or Lanzini to play in the 10 and overload and transition really quickly. But you'd have to be so efficient.
But this I was going to say, this is exactly it.
Yeah.
This is what I was going to say, because your Lanzini would have to either be brave enough to leave the two, all right, and then, as you said, try to join in the transition, or most likely at Anfield, because we dominate the ball at your stadium as well, and we're most certainly going to dominate the ball. Then your third midfielder is going to be having to do a lot of defensive work. Now, I think it's fair to say Lanzini is not his greatest strength tracking runners, and imagine him trying to sort of keep a hold of our attackers. I just think it's something that we could absolutely employ tomorrow, because Moyes will know how to set up against 4-3-3 for us, and we'll have your plays drilled to the maximum in the last few days. I just think that would be a shock to the system. That was just my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. It will give us opportunities, but like I say, I think it would mean that a defensive midfielder like Declan would have to be brave enough to beat a press from someone like Jordan Henderson. And then thereafter, if you're successful in it, you're just recycling possession just in front of our back four. So that would be the pitfall of it. But there'll be opportunity. To be honest, if you looked at it like that, it would give you a better opportunity, I feel, because I'm not sure we have enough energy in that space in beyond your midfield to hurt you from that deep. So
that's why, because Conroy, I know you're saying that it's a bit, and I agree with you, it's most likely not going to do it, but because of West Ham's fatigue levels, because like I have been watching it, because I think we spoke about it before as well. West Ham play the same team every week, same set of players, and we've got a fully refreshed 11, especially in the attack, Conroy. It's just about getting that early goal with us against West Ham, because the longer it goes on, they'll be able to frustrate and sit in with us. their heads will drop very much like we said Leeds. If we get the lead, because remember we said Leeds are going to be knackered from Man United, and so it turned out. Right, we got the first goal, second goal, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
I think if we get an early goal against West Ham, it could really, really open the floodgates. And that's why I just thought it would be something different. And the fact that our forwards are not your average just stand there and hang around type forwards. They all track back. They all press. I don't think they would give West Ham defenders who aren't, as Corey has alluded to, the best, especially without Cresswell, the best on the ball.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. The only thing I would say, guys, I do understand it, because at times someone like a West Ham, I feel like defensively they can be very good, and it's one of those games where we've all seen that Liverpool think, oh, we're going to win this 3-0, no problem, and then we can't score at half time. Then we all get a bit anxious. So I understand it, and I don't think it's the craziest thing, Grizz. I see where you're coming from. What I would probably change if we did do that, though, Grizz, is I would probably put Salah up with Jota and put Mane right and Diaz to the left, because I know they two would.
It's not a bad swap.
No, but I mean, like, no, to see if it's like a 4-4-2, because I know
Yeah,
they work. I'm not saying Salah doesn't work, but the whole point, the way we play Salah, is to get him high up with the ball, and I feel like it'd probably make more sense for him to be on the right behind Jota, but that's only a small swap. I still think you could potentially do it. Diaz is eager, he wants to get in the team, he's going to track back, and Sadio will always be good defensively. You're changing turning my head towards it the more you're saying it, Grizz. But what I would say tomorrow is, whatever we play, I think it's important Diaz plays. He's the man in form right now. He terrified Chelsea. Like the comments are saying, he's not afraid to run at people. Yes, but he's also unpredictable, but the sense of he knows what he's doing. No, just other defenders don't, which is terrifying, to be honest. And I said, Corey, in our the review of the game, I don't think he's at 100% yet. I think he'll get better. I genuinely think he'll get better, and it's a scary thought, and I think it's important he plays tomorrow.
Dinesh sends in a super chat, says, evening, everyone hope you're all well. We are indeed, Dinesh, and respect for the profile name that you've dedicated to Shane Warne.
Read Steve's comments, Chris.
What's he said?
It's 4-3-3, lads.
Yeah,
you know,
look, I've tried to hype it up, innit? The show's called Pre-Match Hype, so I've tried to make it exciting. We're going to go all out.
You imagine if he does do it, Chris.
Well, then I'm a
clip
genius.
Clip this up. This will be everywhere.
But
we got Cade Gordon this season, and then we also got, what was the other one we got? Oh, I can't remember.
We've got loads of shouts, man.
Yeah, it was good.
Let's not tell everyone our secrets. Kieran, though, says West Ham are solid. They're not a team that you batter. Sounchek and Rice sitting in front, not easy, but they did go very strong midweek. Hopefully they tire out when we up the pressure. And that's what I want to talk about, Corey, your much heralded, rated centre midfield pairing. Souček's levels have dropped this season, it's fair to say. But then again, they were fucking so high last season. It was kind of to be expected. Rice has been outstanding by all accounts. But again, two players that have played every single game minute, it seems like, right?
Yeah, they've played a lot of football, and I think it's hurt Sounchek more than it has Dijk. I think actually we probably rotated Dijk more when we've had an opportunity because of how important he is to the team. Whereas I feel that you look at Sounchek and everyone sees him as a marathon man, and it is sad to watch because he's become under a lot of criticism. But I think he's so leggy what he's trying to do in terms of turnovers, late runs into the box. You know, I watched the Newcastle game; it was at home, and he wasn't even competing for headers. That's not Sounchek, and it is the energy of the man that's hurting him. Technically, of course, I know he's not the greatest technically. He's not going to play through the lines. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. I know what I'm getting with the double pivot, but he needs 3 months off. I cannot, this season, when it ends, him going on holiday and just not looking at football, not doing anything is going to be the best thing because he needs to get back to that level. And he, to be fair to him, has had to pull up a lot of slack for Sounchek. And that you wouldn't normally say that, but in that Newcastle game, even Declan looked a little bit leggy because he's having to pull up for him. He's having to cover the right distance. He's effectively at times feels like he's playing on his own. So it has affected both of them. When they're both fit, and like we saw in the Liverpool game, how disciplined they were in that Liverpool game, a different type of game plan, they were spot on. But again, I think Dijk can cope with the demands a little bit more, but Sounchek hasn't stopped playing football for about 18 months. So I don't know. I'm not even sure we'll see him. He got a nasty cut on the face against Southampton, which I didn't realise how bad it was. And they reckon he may be out, and of course that would leave Lanzini to play. So we might not see that. But you know, if Sounchek can get on that pitch, he will get on that pitch, and he never complains, and that's at his detriment because he's out there, he's clearly lagging, and he just won't go off because we rely on him so heavily.
Conrad, you know what it is? Those two are vital, not only in terms of protecting West Ham, but, and as I pointed out in the first preview, their two centre-backs, potentially three, will be like sort of 4 or 5, 6'2" plus players in our box, and they will pack out the penalty area and try to rough up Alisson as much as they can. Thankfully, we will have a Virgil van Dijk who's absolutely switched on now, and I agree with you. He's back to his imperious best last month or so, I guess. We'll have Matip missing, who I think very much like Sounchek was lagging in recent games because of the fact that he's played triple his minutes that he has in any other season for us. He's always been injured. I read somewhere he's played 800 minutes more already. And
that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
And there's 12 games to go. So
yeah.
Matip's not used to this, so he's having a break tomorrow. Right?
Quite right.
It's caught up with him. We've got Ibu Konate, who's another physical player. Hopefully that will be some battle with Antonio that he comes out on top on. And then I always talk about the crucial height in our central midfield pairing of Henderson and Fabinho. That gives me a bit more comfort knowing that we've got four players that will be able to physically, hopefully, handle West Ham in the penalty area, because they're going to play for set pieces. It's going to be their best outlet. Yeah. I know Cresswell's a doubt, Corey says, but Lanzini's got different brilliant quality as well in terms of delivery and the much heralded, the much wanted, the much sought after Jared Bowen as well.
Now he's much wanted. Now he's heralded. But when it was first brought up, yeah,
you didn't like him.
Well, I did. Some people have got egg on their face for it now, and I'm not talking about Grizz, but there's a lot of people on Twitter who thought it was put their noses down at that. But now he's in the top 5. But yeah, Grizz, I feel like Corey, are you still the most from set pieces you were when you played us?
No, it's us now.
Is it us now? Oh, we're kind of like an enigma, no, Grizz, because we go like 3 games when we're brilliant, and then we go 1 game where we can't beat the first man, specifically Robbo and Trent. So we are, but West Ham at that time as well, you saw how good they were from set pieces. You know the players they've got. We mentioned that I know Ogbonna's been out, but you still got Dawson, who I think is actually very underrated for when it comes to like I don't know how many goals he scored in his career, but I think it's quite a lot of Premier League goals for a centre back. He's been very good.
Yeah.
We've also got Zuma, the threat there. Sounchek's out. I think that's I know he's not in great form, mate, but when you talk about set pieces, I always thought Sounchek's very clever. He scored so many goals where it's like a back post run, and it's like just he's actually very clever. I think quite doesn't get the credit he deserves for that in the box. So we need to be wise to it, as you said, Grizz. Henderson's quite. I always like don't list Henderson when I think of tall players, but he is quite a tall player. I just don't know why in my head I don't always go. He's the go-to, but Fabinho. I think having those 4 players in the park will help us. I think we should get through the set pieces with that, even if it is a great delivery by Bowen, Lanzini, or even if Cresswell plays. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and Alisson's got to have obviously not have a howler, because look, as much as we've praised West Ham, and they played to a plan, they waited for their transitions and they attacked with the home support every time they could. They didn't just sit. We actually, if you talk about the 2 howlers from Alisson and the Sadio Mane free header in the last minute, we could have come away with a point very, very easily. Like, you know. Obviously, Corey won't have noticed it from his angle, because his point of view was we played fantastic. But an Alisson howler for the 3rd goal was as well, wasn't it? Like literally went underneath.
Yeah, I think. See, at the time I've rewatched it. I think the Zuma one. You see if that was an isolated incident, you might say it was a good goal, because it looks like he doesn't get to the corner. But when you rewatch, it is put into a dangerous area. I think Alisson should do better, but I think with the game he had previously, Grizz, that just added to the fuel to the fire, if you know what I mean.
We also need to play obviously much more attention to the set pieces and everything else. But I think it's set up for a magnificent encounter again. They won't be easy. David Moyes hates us more than anything else, he would absolutely love it if he derails our title aspirations.
I would love it if we beat them. He's got
Ah,
Keegan. He's got Keegan on
he's-
repeat.
Absolutely, he has. So your predicted lineup, Corey, will be relayed to Jurgen Klopp and his.
And this,
host.
we've got president in this, mate. We've called this a few times. Like, we get info, so
Yeah,
Jurgen watches this show.
Exactly. So we want some insight, Corey. How do you think you're going to line up, and give us your team lineup information wise, brother?
Okay, so I think Fabianski will come to goal.
Yeah.
I think Cresswell starts at left back. I've seen him training today, so if he's even 50-50 fit, I think Moyes will play him. I think Dawson and Zuma, that's our first choice centre back pairing at the minute. Right back has to be Ben Johnson. There's no other choice. I think we go 4-5-1 out of possession, but let's just say 4-2-3-1. I think Rice and Lanzini, I think they play in a double pivot, which would be interesting to see.
Not Noble.
Nah, not Noble. No,
Really?
Not for me. Not for me. I think Noble, the problem is with Noble is clearly as he's getting older, he lacks that. Even if he has got quality in terms of passing ability, which I know people may laugh at, but throughout his career at West Ham, he has been a lot better player than he is now. You can't afford him to get out of position. He would literally just have to sit in front of that back four, whereas Lanzini can play through the thirds and he's quite adept at doing that. So I think he'll play.
So Sounchek didn't train today, or was he in the pictures, or
I think he trained, but he had a huge headband on. I just can't. You think he'll play?
Yeah,
I've heard he's a doubt, but all right, okay.
Just
to be honest, I'd rather
corners. Tell him to
Cruz, I'd rather Manu play. To be honest, I would rather play Manu. Just in terms of keeping the ball, which sounds nuts, but is what it is. Fornals on the left, Bowen on the right. Got to be Ben Rama probably at 10, and then Antonio. I think that'll be it. Really, can't see it. I just can't see us going to a back five. I just cannot see it. So I think you're safe in the knowledge it's a 4-2-3-1.
Conray, do you think that's how they set up? I don't want to preempt anything, but I am. But if they're playing a back four with Dawson and Zuma, I think if we get an early goal, this could be a lot of problems for West Ham. I think they will go to a back five. I think it's total different. I think Moyes is clever and smart enough to know that it's a different Liverpool, the one that played A back then, and B with the home crowd and everything. They won't have the moans and groans of fans, worried about West Ham sitting too deep. He wouldn't give a shit. He'll just make sure they're compact and just get a draw and get the hell out of there. But I could be wrong. If that's the lineup, what's our lineup in your opinion and information wise then?
So I think we'd be. You can do the one you've suggested already. I'll go for the one I think that will happen, and I'm not against the 4-4-2. And a few people in the comments have said it as well. For me, I think at 4-3-3, Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robbo. I think the midfield will be. I think Hendo, Fabinho, Hendo, and I think it will be Elliott. Potentially could be Ox, but I think it will be Elliott. I think that would be his go-to. And then in the three up front, I think the three wide, the three forwards. I think this is a hard one actually, because for me, right, without Jota's the only one who's a centre forward in that team or can play in the centre forward. I think Mane does it to a reasonable standard, but really we're not fluid when it happens. Let's be honest. We get by, but it's not the ideal situation. So for me, Jota starts in the centre forward. He's the only one who does. Obviously Salah right, and then it's the left. Now, we talked about revenge earlier. Now, Mane misses it's a terrible miss at the end of the game. Does Klopp use that man management? He takes him off. He only brings him on, him and Diaz, for a small part against Norwich. That's confusing me. This is confusing me because I'm like Jota as a dead set to start. But it's my gut, Jota will start, so I'm going to go with that. Then I feel like you've got the revenge story with Mane, or you've got Diaz who's in form. But I think you need to go with in form. So for me, it's got to be Diaz, and Mane misses out. I don't know if guys, does Mane deserve to start right now? And is he going to start in the middle? I don't think he will.
I agree with you in terms of I personally would start Jota and Diaz out on the left. But I don't think that's what Klopp's going to do.
Yeah.
I think Mane. I think the fact that we've scored so many goals with this three and on such a good streak, and the fact that he played Jota full 90 minutes, near enough.
Yeah, you're right. That's my. But the thing is, I just don't think we'll hold the ball up that well when it's
I'm
not
with
Jota
you.
or Firmino. You know, but
I'm with you.
You've got a point there. You've got
But
a point.
I was a bit critical of Mane's performance in that first half against Chelsea. But when I got back home, and watched it again, I thought I was a bit harsh on Mane.
He was okay, Chris. Don't get me wrong. He's okay, but he's just not as good as them at holding the ball, I think, in the middle. That's all I mean.
Yeah, look, it's very hard for him because he's not used to playing through the middle. Very rarely does he play. He played a few times for Southampton. He's played a few times for his national team. Majority of the time he's played wide right or wide left for us. And even though it looks so brilliant and calculated the way our forwards play, it's very particular. We're very, very. Our moves are not by luck.
Yeah,
our patterns of play.
It's not off the cuff.
It's not off the cuff. They're not patterns of. There are patterns of play that coach and Pep have absolutely drilled these guys to, and that's why even Corey, who's not a Liverpool fan, notices Diaz fitting like a glove, like he's already picked it up, kind of thing, and that's what you get with elite footballers. Like, do you know what I mean? So Mane, even though he's an elite footballer and that's why he's fitted in so well through the middle, it's still not it's not natural for him straight away. That's why I thought we suggested, because I would personally do that. I would personally go 4-4-2 or 4-2-4, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Like, if some people would say it's a 4-2-4, some people would say it's a 4-4-2, but I would have Diaz floating. I would have Mane and Salah on the wings, and then Jota, because for me, you can't leave Jota out of this team. He's not that good.
Yeah, not for me.
One of them drops out on the weekend, not on the weekend, in midweek, because we've already got 2-0, so we don't need 4 attackers. That's another thing that comes in my mind, right? So we don't need all 4 of them against Inter Milan because we're 2-0 up. Also, Bobby's back for Inter. So this is a time to just blitz West Ham. Now, I know
it could happen.
I know Corey's guest and welcome Corey to the show and that. But
no, respectfully, Corey, like you won't get a hard time if we do, mate. It will not be a United win. We'll not do that. We'll be respectful.
But it's just
what? I'm not being funny. We've got Sevilla away, haven't we, on Thursday? That's kind of creeping up in my head. That's a massive game for us. So it's get out of there with a draw, like if we can, like genuinely if we can, and move on.
This is it exactly. We haven't. I don't think we've got Inter Milan in our heads. We should have absolutely focus, because any slip up here, it's over. And I know it's mad because 3-4 weeks ago we thought it was over, and now it's back in our hands really. Like if we win all our games, no one can do anything about it, which is the mad thing. So the smallest slip up will be
pressure on as well, Chris, doesn't it? It puts pressure. That was I think none of your business said earlier. It was another comment. Sorry, I missed the name. He puts pressure on City against United. If we win tomorrow, because that game's on Sunday, isn't it? Yeah. So puts pressure on them, and pressure does strange things.
Man United are absolute shit, right? And I'm fully expecting Man City to put 3-4.
So do I. But I just feel like if they don't score early, they might get a bit.
No
might
Diaz.
Overthink it. No Diaz. There's things that could happen.
Yeah. So look. But the first and foremost is get 3 points. I'm not one of these that looks for fucking performances and outstanding 3-4-0s. I never predict that because I know it's never happens. It's very Barclays Premier League's like
we're not Avi.
Yeah, exactly. He's already predicted 4-0 or something in the WhatsApp. But go on then, Conroy. Give us your prediction for tomorrow then.
For me, I think 2-0 tomorrow. Yeah, 2-0. I think 2-0. I think defensively, hopefully get a clean sheet. 2-0, and I think the scorers will be, I think Mo will get a goal, customary goal for Mo, and I'm going to go for Fabinho.
And have you? Oh, again, fucking hell. Okay. And have you?
I don't usually go for Fabinho.
No, I mean like Fabinho to score again.
Oh no, again, yeah. No, that's I've got a feeling that I feel like it'll be not 2 forwards tomorrow. I think it'll be a forward, then a midfielder tomorrow.
And just to make it clear, have you changed your mind about the lineup? Have I influenced you in any way whatsoever?
Absolutely, but more because of the 90 minutes with Jota thing that I'm kind of battling my head that, yeah, that I get that, but like I'm like you, Jota has to start. And you know what is like, people try to dust off man management like all the time. Like, you need to play, like, if they're not in form, drop them. But that's not how it always works. You need to keep everyone on song. So this idea of 4-4-2, Grizz, I'm considering it now. I'm still going to go with mine, but I think it's a good
Okay.
shout. But I do think not Salah at right wing though. I think Salah's up in the 2. I think you put Mane at right, because Salah, you probably don't want him to track as much as that, but I feel like you get the best out of him if he's in the 2, I think, anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Corey, give us your prediction, mate.
Right.
You were spot on last time.
Nah, mate, it's different. It's different this time. I think, look, my head says you'll win. My head says you'll win, and I think, but I can't do it to myself. I've got to go for a 1-0. I've got to hope. I've got to believe we're going to pull something off. Deck spoke about it midweek, galvanising. So, and these players in West Ham's history, we get up for these type of big games. So, and a draw would be big. You know, I don't think we go there expecting 3 points, and I think that sort of plays on the mind. But if we could get a point out of there and just sort of keep the momentum a little bit and keep touching those Europa League places, then fine. But I'm under no illusion. Adding Diaz in January is an absolute nightmare. How much depth you've got now in those forward options is a problem. So we've got to be spot on. We can't make any mistakes, and you've got to have an off day, which is what it was last time.
Yeah, look. Yeah, you're under no illusions. It's going to be as hard as you said it is. I genuinely expect the crowd to be an absolute influence because of the fact that what we're going for, like, quadruples don't happen because they're fucking so hard. Do you know what I mean? That's why they don't happen. So talk of quadruple is silly at this stage. It is silly. But the longer we're in it, the less silly it becomes. But there's over 2 months left yet. Over 2-3 months left of the season. So at the moment, it's silly talk. Stop the quadruple talk for now. But keep as long as the dream is alive, we keep going. We keep forcing it. Corey, nice one, mate. Thank you very much for popping in again and having a chat with us. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, loved it, mate. No problem at all.
Wicked.
Let's get tomorrow out of the way and I can move on with my season.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plus, you never know, Corey. Next time we talk, you could be Europa League winners, mate. You really don't know. Like, I think you've got a chance.
I'm backing West Ham for the.
I'm backing as well. Like, yeah. I hope you do.
Because I used to live around the corner from West Ham, so do you know what I mean?
Listen, do you know what? I've got to be honest. If we keep it tight in that first leg against Sevilla, no illusion, they're probably the toughest team in the competition.
Yeah,
get 60,000 back at London Stadium with that atmosphere, and hopefully it's on point. Then listen, anything can happen. That's why I wanted to get to the semi-final.
If you're still in it, mate, that stadium's going to be absolutely bouncing. If you're still in that tie, and then anything can happen.
100%,
exactly. 100%. That's what I'm holding on
to. Thank you very much for people to tuning in for us. There's still over 200 of you in there. Make sure you smash that.
Get those likes smashed.
You don't even have to smash it. Just tap it. I'm not asking you to break your phones and your laptops, whatever. Just tap it.
That's why people don't do it. Smashed iPhones and stuff.
Exactly. I'm not telling you to be violent towards your applications and your devices. Just tap the like button. That's it. That's all we ask for. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope we've tried to cover as much as the game as we can, tactically, selection wise, headache wise. Prediction wise, but let us know in the comments if we haven't, and we'll try to cover it next time. This has been a pre-match hype show for Liverpool West Ham. See you all next time.